Hi everybody, and welcome to Two Wrasslin Dogs Farms. Today we're going to be making ravioli. So we're going to work with a basic 2-egg pasta. So if you go back to the 2 videos with the 2-egg pasta recipe, you can start from there. And what you're going to do is divide your dough into 4 balls and take 2 of them and roll them out. Now as you can see, I have already rolled out 1 piece, and I've also already rolled out 2 pieces and have used that to make 11 raviolis. So, all I'm going to do now is finish rolling out my 4th piece. And what I did, as you'll notice, I have it underneath the damp cloth that we had the dough under when it was resting. So just keep using it because you just don't want your dough to dry out as you're rolling it. But then obviously once your raviolis are made, you don't need to cover them because you want them to dry out. So we're just going to finish getting this last piece rolled out. And if you looked at my Two Wrasslin Dogs Farms Facebook page, you'll see that yesterday we were in the Bronx and we took apart our seed starting setup at the school, and I was also able to pick some stinging nettles while I was there. So I decided to use those as part of our ravioli filling. Now traditionally a ravioli filling is going to be made with ricotta, but I didn't have any. I did have this, which was something that I got from our Lewis Way Farm CSA, and it was a garlic and herb cheese, and I decided to try to use it as a ravioli filling. Now, if you were using ricotta as a ravioli filling, one of the things you want to make sure you do is you let the ricotta strain overnight in your refrigerator. That way you get all the extra moisture out of it. So you want your filling to be nice and dry so that your ravioli doesn't burst open when you cook it. But since this spread was pretty dry, I didn't bother doing that. So what I did do, as you'll see in my Facebook page, was I parboiled the stinging nettles, and I strained them and squeezed them out. And this morning, I chopped them up real good, and I mixed them in with the 8 ounces of the cheese spread. So it was about a 1/4 cup of the chopped herbs. And then I added an egg. And you add an egg so that the cheese mixture swells up a little bit in the ravioli and just makes a lighter filling. So that's what's in here. So now, I'm just going to finish rolling this out a little bit. And I'm just going to, since I'm assuming that not everybody has the pasta making equipment that we have available when we do our workshops, I'm doing all of this old school because I assume everybody's got a knife and some sort of rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can try very carefully using a can, but really, go get a rolling pin. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very lightly score the dough, and I'm going to create maybe like a 2-inch grid. Now obviously this is an uneven edge, so they aren't going to be perfect. We're going to try to maximize as much as we can. Now you're only scoring it, okay? So you're lightly scoring it. You're not cutting all the way through the dough. And you're creating about a 2-inch square. Then you're going to take your filling, and what I like to do is I like to use 2 spoons. That way you don't have to touch it and it doesn't get really messy. And what you want to do on a 2-inch sized ravioli is get about a 1/4, the size of a 1/4 drop into your little square. So just like that, and that. And a little bit more there. and they don't have to be perfect. Now, if you don't have stinging nettles growing in your yard, and I doubt that you do, this is the type of time of year where you're going to start seeing things like fresh spinach and some mixed lettuces. You might also start seeing, if you've got a garden, some parsley coming up. You can also use things like some wild edible greens that will grow in your backyard. If you have access to a backyard that has not been chemically enhanced or sprayed, Google things like dead nettle, henbit, dandelion, and broadleaf plantain. Those are all edible greens that grow on a lot of our lawns, and you can use them to make this recipe. You can even add them to your salads, but Google them and make sure that you're identifying them properly. Okay, now as you see, I've got my little squares more or less filled in, and I'm going to take a brush with a little bit of water and lightly brush the scored lines. Do not saturate the dough, otherwise it's going to be difficult to remove the ravioli. Also, if you do not have one of these little brushes, use your finger. Totally acceptable. Now we're going to take our second piece of dough, and we're simply going to lay it over the other piece of dough lightly. And starting from the center, you're going to start patting around the little circle of filling and moving out as you go, so that as you move towards the outer edges, you are eliminating any air pockets that might be forming inside the ravioli. So you're going to just very gently smooth with your hands, working as fast as you can, and now I'm just going to cut out a few. And what you're going to do to make sure that they're nicely sealed when you are done, take a fork and just pinch around the edge. And that is pretty much going to do the job of holding the filling into the ravioli. So a 2-egg dough is going to use up about half the filling. So if you want to use up all of the filling, make a 4-egg dough, and you're going to have about 3 or 4 dozen raviolis. You could pop them in the freezer and use them as needed. And if you don't want to make more ravioli, tune in next time and we'll be making tortellini, and you can use the rest of your filling for tortellini. So until then, I'm just going to remind everybody, please subscribe to our YouTube page, Chris Napolitano, and also follow us on Facebook, Two Wrasslin Dogs Farms. I post a lot of information on that page as well. And pretty soon we're going to be straining vinegar, so I know a lot of you are interested in learning how to make vinegar from scratch, so tune into that. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. Stay safe and stay busy. Bye!